Did the president's comments put pressure on NFL owners to now sign Colin Kaepernick?
I think it does, certainly, because we know that his comments and the uproar that he caused when he called the players sons of bitches a few years ago is what led to them ultimately doing what they did in terms of ostracizing him. Let's remind our audience here. The president hijacked the narrative. He made something about police brutality, racial oppression, and inequality into something about patriotism and our American flag. His constituency and others bought it hook, line, and sinker. And as a result, they threatened to compromise the bottom line of NFL owners who certainly didn't want to deal with that reality. And they said Colin Kaepernick, who, by the way, had lost the starting job because he was injured primarily to Blaine Gabbert, wasn't somebody that they deemed worth the risk of bringing back into the league, and they ostracized him. They blackballed him. It's just that simple. And they hid behind Trump as the excuse. And so now that the president is saying what he is saying about Colin Kaepernick as it pertains to him being deserving of getting another chance in the league, you can question his intent all you want to. I know I do, in terms of why he's saying that, particularly when you're looking for votes come November. But in the end, regardless of what way you slice it, he said what he said. It's on the record that he has said it, and it's further evidence, it's an additional excuse that gets wiped away and shrugged away as an impediment to Colin Kaepernick's return to the NFL. NFL owners are running out of excuses for ostracizing and blackballing him the way that they did. And so now we've seen evidence from that because Anthony Lynn, head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers, has said he will work out Colin Kaepernick. He said it's crazy for Colin Kaepernick not to be on anybody's workout list. If Colin Kaepernick can ball, and clearly he doesn't have to be a starter. He could be a backup or he could be a starter depending on which team wants him and what they have available to them. There's not going to be any excuse available for these owners to keep him out of the league because black folks watch football too. We pay to patronize the NFL brand. And obviously, if you take this kind of course of action, particularly with the president on the record saying that he doesn't mind him back in the league, you really, really don't have an excuse if you're an owner, not to say you ever had an excuse in the first place.
How do you know a politician is lying, Stephen A? Their lips are moving. I mean, this goes for politicians broadly.
There you
right?
go. Their lips are moving. Yes.
Right.
Good one, Max.
This goes for politicians broadly, but particularly for politicians who don't seem to have any core value except winning, except ego protection. Let's look at why Trump is saying this now, after his SOB comment pressurized the owners to keep Kaepernick out of the league in the first place, in my view. Not that they needed much pressure or help. But the owner's point of view then, and Trump's point of view then, was at a time when 20-something% of Americans supported the players' protest. Now what's happened 4 years later, after witnessing, after a global pandemic, after social upheaval, or unrest at the very least, after the disastrous handling of a pandemic and an economy in freefall, after the video of George Scott for everyone to see, after 4 years of scandal and impeachment, etc., the over 50%, that's the majority of Americans, now favor the players' protest. I mean, it's hard not to, right? Kaepernick says, hey, I want to respectfully kneel before the flag because cops are brutalizing us. And everyone's, don't be ridiculous. Things are good, right? Well, now things underneath aren't so good. And now we have the video of a man being murdered in cold blood in an unambiguous way. And now all of a sudden from 20-something, we have over 50%. And now Trump says, well, sure, if he's good enough to play, let him play. By the way, it's a lot harder to be good enough to play after 4 years of inactivity, obviously, right? But also, a politician's lips are moving here. The agenda is simply to have personal success. And the idea that there's any kind of core belief about Kaepernick one way or another that's not simply politically expedient, I don't see it.
Well, let's cut to the chase here. Again, I'll say it for you. The Democrats recognize the fact that they need the black vote in order to win an election. That's the wise position to take, and it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that this particular administration believes it may need the black vote to win the election as well. And so when you take that into consideration, and you see where the momentum has, what the momentum has built. It's inescapable. It's inescapable to the fact that, again, you know what? If I say something that I'm receptive to it, you know what? They're not going to be able to hold it against me come election time. Listen, like you said, Max, you said it best. How do you know a politician's lying or whatever the case may be? Because their lips are moving. I get all of that. One can certainly deduce that there's a personal agenda or what is perceived as being a personal benefit, but that's not really the subject here. The subject is the incentive and the motivate, and actually not the incentive, but how the NFL owners and how the NFL can react now that Donald Trump has taken the position that he has taken. My position is that he's eradicated the excuse, yet another excuse, that the NFL owners can use to keep Colin Kaepernick out of the National Football League, assuming he can still ball, which we all believe he can.
Yeah, to answer the question directly, yes, it does pressure NFL owners, or at least it takes the handcuffs off those who maybe wanted to give Kaepernick a look. But to your point about the black vote, you get over 50% now from 20-something% then. That's the white vote. It's white people's minds who are changing. And I believe that's who Trump is talking to.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.